So you think you know me? My name is Colin, and this is what I do. Instead of being classified in the generalist or specialist genre, my main aim has always been to be placed as a multimedia specialist in the industry. My view has always been that all these rivers flow into the same stream, if that makes sense. No pun intended. One of my biggest passions is the ocean. Find your passion, guys, it's so important. It has given me lifelong friendships. It has also inspired me to travel the world, where I've become rich in many ways which don't count to the bank. It has also opened me up to many diverse cultures and people around the world. When I was 14, I was surfing and a large jellyfish landed on my head and body, which caused a massive shock to my immune system. Apparently this triggered an autoimmune response in my body and killed my pancreas, which stopped all insulin production, where I'm now type 1 diabetic. So currently I take around 5 to 7 injections a day, 4 blood tests per day, which can be quite painful. And I also wear these sensors to track my sugar levels 24 hours a day, which lasts 2 weeks. So all in all, I've given myself around 47,000 injections. I've been in 2 comas, which could have left me paralyzed or dead. Dealing with the highs and lows is a constant roller coaster ride and battle that I live on, and I have these things to look forward to as well. Every day is a struggle, but I choose to change my mindset daily. I focus on being grateful, stop complaining about things that won't change. Then I get up and keep on moving forward and try to avoid this guy. Besides that, when we were growing up, our passion for the ocean led us to doing many crazy things in the quest to find heavy and dangerous waves. I never wanted my condition to hold me back from anything. I've almost had 8 near drownings in huge conditions, 2 near shark attacks with a mako and a great white shark. We were chased by a super poisonous sea snake out the water in Mexico. I've almost lost my right eye after my camera housing smashed into my head, blown both eardrums, had multiple reef cuts, many concussions, cut my head open and torn my rotator cuff, to name a few things that happened. However, still I regard those years as being some of my best. Just being young, wild and free, and being part of nature in this extreme form of energy that gets freely given to us. There are too many stories, but one unique one was we used to camp next to and break into this military explosive range in Wales in the early hours of the morning, which carried a 55,000 rand fine per person if you got caught. On the walk to the beach on my first entry, there were multiple mortar bombs, 35mm and missiles that were being deployed in the distance. The explosions were happening every 30 seconds and we had no idea where they were coming from either. To top it off, we did this to surf a freezing cold surf spot 2 miles out to sea. We were highly irresponsible and careless for sure, but we gathered loads of life experiences in the process. Ocean and these crazy experiences helped shape us, and I'll be sharing some of these learnings that have been applied to my life and the business world. So surf lesson 1, tenacity and gratefulness. The ocean helped build the mental fortitude to overcome many of the challenges we all have to face in life. Getting crushed by a wave isn't much different to getting broken by some of life's other struggles we face. Surfing teaches you that no matter how fierce the challenge is, you have to dig deep, keep going, and to not give up. It's better to attempt and fail than to not try at all. We are our own greatest inhibitor because we hold ourselves back from doing the things we dream of doing. So as a work reference, around 10 years ago, I landed a big super sport contract for 20 TV shows that were created, and unfortunately my client wasn't able to pay. I had to pay out my life savings to all my staff and contractors. I ended up living in a stable for 6 months, having cold showers every day, and it was something I'll never forget, but I kept on going. And within a year, sorted out all my finances and my revenue skyrocketed. And I landed some of the biggest companies in the country, including Transnet, Mazcor, John Deere, and of course TBWA. Keep on paddling, there's always another wave coming. When things are darkest, that's when you've been planted. Remember, that's when it's time to start growing. Always be grateful, then start to forgive yourself, others, and move on. Surf lesson 2, conquering fear. So what were my greatest fears? Injections, like I know, come on, give me a break here. Waimea, Hawaiian setter, ended up becoming one of the first water cameramen to shoot the spot during one of the biggest swells of the decade. Bankruptcy, eaten by a great white shark, and of course snakes. I'm not a fan. So I always loved this quote by Jim Morrison. He said, expose yourself to your deepest fear. After that fear has no power, you are free. And what are the best way to avoid drowning is to actually calm yourself right down. Believe me, it can be incredibly violent going through something like this. If you start panicking, you probably have 99% less chance of surviving. You can experiment with this concept yourself by sprinting whilst holding your breath, and then just observing what happens to your oxygen supply. It's the same principle. So as a work reference, in areas of conflict and chaos, stop, then breathe, and relax your body and your mind. You'll be able to sort out the issues at hand faster, and will be using less of your reptilian flight or fight brain. Surf lesson 3, patience and endurance. Surfing teaches you patience, that's for sure. You could either not be fit enough, be in a super crowded lineup, there's either no swell or the weather conditions and variables are not in the correct place, or it just isn't your day. So as a work reference regarding patience and persistence will help us land those lucrative business deals and usher in calm with our clients. This showcases our professionalism and confidence. Surf lesson 4 instills values of conservation. It's very hard to describe the feeling of being in a pristine natural environment, one where you are one with nature.
Paradise.
Where you are lucky enough to ride beautiful waves and perfect water clarity. As we are all living in bricks and mortar, we often forget what is happening outside our homes, offices, and landfills. Over the last 25 years of being in the ocean, I've seen things spiral out of control. Almost every session we are dodging plastic bags, microplastics, and waste of all kinds. We are in the situation of an overpopulated environment where our population doesn't want to manage or recycle our waste. So what is it going to be like in the next 25 to 50 years? As a work reference, we should all prioritize solutions and innovations that can stop single-use plastics for our clientele. We can be the catalyst to initiate this change and make them the heroes of the industry. Surf lesson 5, communication. Communication is the most critical tool needed for all relationships. If you don't communicate in the lineup, you might also get a high five to the face with a surfboard, which won't be fun. So as a work context, communication increases the chances of successful message delivery and enhances all the efficiencies and other deliveries in business. However we can communicate more effectively, that should be our priority, such as storyboards, detailed briefs, rough sketches, music genre suggestions, animation references. Let's do these things. Surf lesson 6, happiness. I want to start off here. The expectation is a strong belief that something is going to happen. So before surf prediction websites and webcams became available, we used to watch surf videos all night, then race to the beach the next morning to be welcomed by horrendous surf and gale force wind conditions, which just left us all depressed. If you guys want to pursue happiness in your life, it's really quite simple. You just have to reduce or get rid of your expectations. Happiness is purely a mindset. So some of my best memories have been staying in the cheapest hotels so we could stay in these countries for longer and score more waves. This doesn't work anymore now that I'm married. But one of the places we used to stay on the edge of this cliff in Indonesia had a terrible rat problem, but for 50 Rand a night, I had a hammock that had one of the best views on the planet, which is super close to the beach. Moving on, surf lesson 7, commitment. For a surf and work context, commit and deliver, end of story. Surf lesson 8, innovation. One of the most interesting things about surfing is the R&D that has happened over the last 40 years. This was one of the things that ignited my interest and love of R&D. Work reference, I believe innovation is a unique selling point for us over our opposition. Let's embrace it. Let's take advertising innovation to the next level. Working! Thanks, buddy! It's gonna open. End off, guys. Surf lesson 9, adaptation, flexibility and change.
Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
In life, the only guaranteed thing that you can expect is change. No two waves are ever the same. The more flexible we are to change, the easier it is for us to adapt. So sadly, guys, on this note, the current is pulling us in a different direction, and we as a family are going off on another venture for a while. So this will be goodbye for me in the physical sense, and I'd just like to say to all of you guys in the agency that you truly rock. Thanks also to Prav, Sean and Angela for bringing me into the agency and disrupting your lives. It's been loads of fun, and it's been 4 of the best years of my life, that's for sure, in any company. Thank you to the rest of the management team and Vimpy. It's been incredible seeing you lead this team and having been a part of it. It's been an absolute privilege and honor working with you all, and I hope to continue to assist you guys remotely through a stronger internet connection. I wish all you pirates the very best for the future, and just like to end and say, don't stop dreaming.